Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be setting up my January reading journal spreads. Before we go there though, I wanted to give a quick flip through of my reading journal so far in terms of my annual spreads. My index has been kind of filling up. I hope this will last me to the end of the journal, I'm not sure. I ended up reading 9 books and I colored them with this green color from Tombow. I think this is 192. I love that I can actually now see what Tombow markers I'm using. And I followed the same color for my Goodreads goal, and I made pretty good progress this month. In terms of my A to Z challenge, I read letter B, letter C, letter D, I, J, P, and S. So pretty good. Usually the beginning of the year, though, is always, I do pretty well in all of my challenges. In terms of my bingo, I got 5 prompts inspired by real events, set somewhere you'd like to visit, debut author, judge a book by its cover, and translated work. For my Read the Rainbow, I also read for 5 colors, so blue, brown, red, orange, and white. For the buzzword cover reading challenge, I got 4 prompts so far. One is for the internal body part, and that is blood on the cover, action movement, this guy jumping, damage, there's damage on this cover, and then fire and smoke, there's a lot of fire here. So pretty good so far. In terms of like the buzzword reading challenge, the actual one, I only got the occupations, so for that one I read The Poet Empress. I feel like this is going to be a difficult challenge for me. We'll see. In terms of series, I only read 1 book from the Red Rising series, and I haven't really touched anything else yet. All the other ones I read were standalones. For my TBR, I just had 1. I actually need to fill out my TBR. I haven't done that yet. There's a lot of empty space. So for my Hall of Fame, this is where I'm only going to put down the covers for my 5-star reads. And this month I only had 2 5 stars, The Poet Empress and Small Country. So this is my ARCs tracker, and it's growing. I've gotten a lot of ARCs, not gonna lie. But this has made it so easy to kind of see what's coming up when. And once I finish reading it, I'll color it in. So it's looking pretty good so far. In terms of my social media followers, I actually grew quite a lot on Instagram, which is surprising. Actually, I hit 12.8 this morning, and I also have 11K on TikTok, so time to update those. I actually do have 3.9 on YouTube now, so I'm marking this one as well. I love how this is looking, and I left enough space in here so I can always add more if I need to. Like for example, with my Instagram, I don't know if I'm going to need more or not, but I do have the space for it, which is cool. So I like how this is looking so far. The next few are for my book clubs, and for my local one I read Crazy Brave. I wasn't a huge fan, but for the sci-fi I didn't read it yet, Gideon the Ninth. I don't know if I will finish it, so I did not read this one either, so there we go. And then I have a bunch of blank space in here. I was thinking I might use this to keep track of the locations of like where I'm traveling, so I need to build those spreads later on. I did not DNF any yet. And that was all about my 2026 reading challenges so far. Before we start setting up the spreads for January, I do have a little unboxing to share. The Washi tape shop very kindly sent me a few of their tapes, and I saved opening them so we could do it together because I'm absolutely obsessed with their washi. I will link all of these tapes in the description, and you can use my code PSYCHONAUT10 for 10% off if you want to pick any up.
These first two tapes are from the Patel and Blanc bundle, and they are so soft and romantic. The bundle includes Fleur de Lune and Patel and Blanc, and they have these dreamy daisies, summer blooms, little sparkly accents, and even delicate lace details layered in it. The next two are from the Precat Sweet Rosé bundle, and I'm actually obsessed with this set. The first one is the Sweet Rosé Washi, and the second is the Rosé Scripts Washi. They're both pre-cut, so they basically function like stickers, which makes journaling so easy because you can just place them exactly where you want without tearing anything. And I absolutely love the alphabet on the script washi. I already know I'm going to use this all over my book spreads. It's just so good. The next two rolls are from the Precut Seasons Cafe bundle, and I absolutely love these. They're perfect for spring. I tend to prefer the washi tape over the PET tape because it just blends so nicely with my journal paper, so I absolutely love these. And you can see little cats here and there, which is so adorable. So yeah, this is gonna be a fun one. This next one is the Country Ballad PET tape from the Country Life bundle, and this one is just a full panoramic scene. It's one continuous loop of farm life and winding rivers, so when you lay it across the page, it looks like a little landscape running through your spread. It's so stunning. The last set is the Ulrich Rose washi tape sticker set, Gilded, and I was so excited when I saw this one. I absolutely love the floral tapes from the washi tape shop, and the fact that these are pre-cut makes them even better. The design with black and pink roses and gold foil running through it is striking. It feels so dark and delicate at the same time. Super romantic, very elegant. Thank you so much to the washi tape shop for sending these beautiful tapes my way. This made my January setup so much fun to put together. And again, if anything caught your eye, you can always use my code PSYCHONAUT10 for 10% off. So now it's time to set up my reading journal spreads for January. First up is my January cover page. For this cover, I stuck to really wintry colors such as muted greens, soft neutrals, just something that feels like a quiet, snowy morning. I read 9 books this month, which is honestly a pretty great reading month for me. I felt like I was reading constantly, but in a very relaxed and hurried way. These monthly cover pages are kind of my favorite part of the journal because they do 2 things for me. They separate my reads by month, and they also let me track all the data for what I read. And if you know me, you know I love data. On the left side of my journal, I write the name of the month and list out all of the books that I read. And on the right side, this is where the fun happens. This is where I track stats and make a bunch of little pie charts because it just makes my brain very happy. For decoration, I use these ripped sticker papers from Paperminty Studio, and I just layered them down to create some texture. Then I added these green circles from Journal Se, and on top of that, I put this gorgeous sticker from Marigona Sully Art, and it just tied the whole winter aesthetic together. Now, for the reading stats, which were actually really interesting this month, this was a very diverse reading month for me in a lot of ways. So, 3 books that I read were from male authors, and 6 were by female authors. In terms of where the authors were from, 4 were from the US, 1 from China, 1 from Australia, 1 from South Korea, 1 from South Africa, and 1 from Burundi. So, I managed to hit 4 countries for my Read Around the World challenge just this month alone, which was a big win for me. Genre-wise, this month surprised me. So 3 were historical fiction, 3 memoirs, 1 horror, 1 fantasy, and 1 sci-fi. And the really surprising part, 3 of these were nonfiction, which almost never happens for me. So apparently January was my memoir era. Sadly, none of the books had LGBTQ+ representation this month, and all 9 books were adult reads. Format-wise, 7 were ebooks and 2 were audio. In terms of the ratings, they were pretty solid. I had 2 3-star reads, 5 4-star reads, and 2 5-star reads. So overall, this was a very successful reading month. Lots of good books, lots of variety, and a really fun page to put them together. I really love how the spread turned out. It feels very calm and organized. January always feels like a fresh notebook page, and this kind of sets the tone for my whole reading year. Now let's talk about the first book that I read in January, which was The Poet Empress by Shen. Thank you so much to Macmillan Audio and Gaël for the arc in exchange for my honest review. Honestly, I was not expecting to kick off 2026 with a book this addictive, but here I am, bleary-eyed after staying up until 1 a.m. because I simply could not stop reading it. This book grabbed me from the very first chapter and never let it go. As the Azelia dynasty teeters on the edge of collapse and princes circle like vultures, the real battle unfolds quietly within the palace walls. A brutal, intimate fight over who will become empress. Wei Yin, a peasant girl torn from her family and trapped as the concubine to the cruel Prince Terran, is devastating from the start. She has no rank, no allies, no safety, only a dangerous secret and a forbidden education that may be her only way out. What truly sets this book apart is how sharply it explores power, especially the idea that literacy equals knowledge and knowledge equals survival. Poetry has magic could have felt gimmicky, but instead it becomes the heart of the story. Beautiful, dangerous, and utterly compelling. Wei's character growth drives the narrative naturally, and her rags to riches arc never feels rushed or unearned. I listened to the audiobook, and the narrator brought such incredible rhythm and emotional depth to every scene. And then there's the villain. I have not hated a fictional character this intensely in a long time. Yet Shen somehow made me understand him. Terran is monstrous, yes, but heartbreakingly shaped by a childhood steeped in cruelty and fear. The scenes of him as a boy with his toy friends, loving his older brother, genuinely wrecked me. This book broke my heart, stitched it back together, and then shattered it all over again. Dark, twisted, emotionally brutal, and stunningly beautiful. Definitely one of the best debut novels I've read. I would be shocked if this isn't the next big thing, and I desperately need everyone to read it. For this spread, I got a Cricut for Christmas, and I thought this would be a perfect way to test it out. I found some gorgeous elements on Canva, printed them, and layered them into this page. Starting the year with this book really set the bar pretty high, so that made the next books that I read less impressive. Next up on my January reads is Daughter of Egypt by Marie Benedict. Thank you so much to St. Martin's Press and Gaël for the arc in exchange for my honest thoughts. I went into this one fully expecting a 5-star read. Ancient Egypt is very much my thing, and the premise alone had me hooked. The story follows Lady Evelyn Herbert during the frenzy of 1920s London and Egypt following the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb, all while exploring her fascination with Hatshepsut, one of Egypt's few female pharaohs whose legacy was deliberately erased. On paper, it should have worked beautifully. In practice, not quite. The dual timelines felt disjointed, and Hatshepsut's sections only offered brief snapshots rather than a fully realized portrait of her reign. I wanted more depth, more exploration of the isolation of absolute power and the difficult choices she had to make as a woman ruling in a world built for men. Evelyn herself was a tough character for me to connect with. I appreciated her lack of interest in society, life, and her determination to be involved in the excavations, but at times she came across as entitled and single minded. Her obsession with finding Hatshepsut's tomb made the eventual discovery of King Tut feel strangely anticlimactic. Her reaction borders on petulant disappointment rather than awe, and their portrayal of archaeology more as a treasure hunt than serious historical work, while historically accurate in context, made some moments uncomfortable to read. Hatshepsut's sections were equally frustrating in a different way. Instead of showing the complexity of her leadership, the story leaned heavily on her relationships, and long descriptions of Highclere Castle and other opulent settings often pulled focus from the heart of the story. I can see the research and intent behind Benedict's work, but overall it felt like a missed opportunity to fully explore women who deserved far more depth. I didn't hate it, but I closed the book feeling disappointed, wishing it had gone further than just scratching the surface. For this spread, I used a mix of material from Journal Se-hee, Paperminty Studio, and some Cricut designs that I found. Next on my January reads was Crazy Brave, a memoir by Joy Harjo. This one traces Joy Harjo's path to becoming a poet, shaped by a childhood of violence, displacement, and survival, all grounded in tribal myth, ancestry, music, and the natural world. Harjo grew up in Oklahoma at the end point of the Trail of Tears, learning early how to disappear into imagination and spirituality to survive an abusive stepfather. Her experiences at an Indian arts boarding school, becoming a mother as a teenager, and scraping by as a single parent all feed into the slow, hard-won emergence of her artistic voice. I loved how each section opens with reflections of the four directions, giving the book a spiritual structure deeply tied to her culture and worldview. There's a sense throughout that she never lost touch with something elemental and grounded in nature, even while living in a country that treated her as less than. The moments that stayed with me most were her reflections on what she calls the knowing, that unexplainable, bodily sense that tells you something is true long before logic catches up, and the years spent talking yourself out of it. Her honesty around cycles of abuse, both in her family and later in her own relationships, is striking. She examines why women are drawn back into these dynamics and shows how difficult yet necessary it is to break free. At the same time, her devotion to art, poetry, music, creativity becomes a lifeline, a way to choose herself over destructive paths. While I admired the rawness and commitment to art and healing, the narrative sometimes felt a bit dry, moving in a straightforward, this happened and then this happened style. I also wish the later parts of her life were more fully fleshed out. The ending felt a little abrupt after such a long emotional journey. Still, this was a powerful memoir, and I would absolutely recommend it to anyone interested in reading the life story of a Native woman artist. For this spread, the scripted washi tape is from Lila Journals, the girl sticker is from London Gifties, and everything else is from the washi tape shop. Next on my January reads was Iron Gold by Pierce Brown, the fourth book in the Red Rising saga. This one was a weird experience for me at first. I'd taken a full year off after finishing the original trilogy, which I absolutely loved. That trilogy ended so cleanly and satisfyingly that I wasn't even sure I wanted more. Coming back to Darrow and finding him still chasing war instead of settling into the life he supposedly fought for honestly annoyed me. I kept thinking, why are we still doing this? Didn't he earn his rest? That frustration spilled over into how I felt about Virginia and Severo too. Characters I once adored but didn't really want to follow anymore. However, the multiple POV structure in this book completely changed the experience. Having four perspectives instead of just Darrow opened the world in a way his narration alone never could. Lyria and Ephraim especially pulled me back into the lower levels of society and showed how messy and unfair the aftermath of the Rising really was. Lysander's chapters added an unsettling but compelling counterpoint, reminding me that revolutions don't erase the past, they leave scars everywhere. What really worked for me in the end was how honest this book is about consequences. The Rising didn't fix everything. It fractured systems, created new injustices, and left entire populations behind. Darrow himself feels darker, more burdened, and far less heroic, which makes sense given the world he helped create. Pierce Brown still delivers that signature blend of sci-fi, space opera, dystopia, and fantasy that made the original trilogy so compelling. But Iron Gold feels heavier, more reflective, and far more realistic. For this spread, the washi tape is from Aibi, and the stickers are from Journal Say. Next book I read in January was Japanese Gothic by Kylie Lee Baker. Thank you so much to Hanover Square Press HTP Books for the arc. I went into this one knowing it would be strange, but I was still wildly unprepared for just how unhinged and observing it would be. The story flips between Lee in 2026, fleeing New York after killing his roommate under circumstances he cannot fully remember, and Shen in 1877, a young samurai in exile whose father returns from war wearing the wrong face and an even wronger spirit. Both timelines orbit the same eerie house hidden beneath sword ferns in Japan, a place where windows change, animals refuse to tread, and a woman with a blade appears when night falls. I don't usually reach for horror, yet this slow burn pulled me in completely, letting the atmosphere sink into my bones until I could practically smell the damp earth and old wood. That said, this book scrambled my brain. The constant time jumps, dreamlike sequences, and fractured memories made it hard to tell what actually happened and what lived only inside Lee or Sen's head. I was frequently lost, sometimes frustrated, and more than once had to pause just to recalibrate. But there was something compelling about that confusion. Baker leans into their unreliable narrator, repeating events in slightly altered forms and forcing you to question every version of the truth. Lee's grief over his mother's disappearance and his spiraling addictions mirror Sen's desperate need for her father's approval, sometimes pushing her toward horrifying choices. The disorientation feels deliberate, unsettling, and oddly effective. By the time I finished, I just sat there staring at the wall, trying to process what I had read. Bizarre, phantasmagorical, and deeply unsettling, it left me bewildered but satisfied. My only hesitation in giving it 5 stars was the ending, which wrapped things up quickly and didn't carry the same emotional weight as the journey to get there. Even so, I cannot stop thinking about the story. So if you're in the mood for something eerie, unconventional, and willing to mess with your sense of reality, Kylie Lee Baker delivers something truly memorable. For this spread, I went all in on the Gothic vibes. I created blood splatters across the page using gorgeous ink from Ferris Wheel Press, and I printed some Japanese-inspired Gothic stickers from Canva on clear sticker paper. I absolutely love how everything came together in the end. Next up on my January reads was Small Country by Gaël Faye, which I picked from my Read Around the World challenge for Burundi. The novel opens in Burundi in the early 1990s, and for a while it feels almost impossibly idyllic. Gabriel, just 10 years old, lives in a comfortable neighborhood of Bujumbura with his French father, his Rwandan mother, and his little sister. His days revolve around friends, petty rebellions, stolen mangoes, sneak cigarettes, and the feeling that their quiet cul-de-sac belongs entirely to them. Faye captures childhood with such warmth and ease that you settle into this sense of safety alongside Gabi, fully aware it cannot last, but still hoping it might. What makes this book devastating is how gently it shifts from innocence to awareness. The civil war in Burundi and the genocide in neighboring Rwanda loom in the background at first, filtered through rumors, adult conversations, and half-understood fear. Gabi does not grasp the weight of ethnic divisions or the long history of violence shaping his mother's life, and neither does the reader in any neat or comforting way. Instead, Faye shows how hatred seeps into everyday life. Friendships fracture, even play tilts toward danger. The violence itself is mostly off page, but its aftermath is everywhere. In silence, grief, and the slow collapse of the world Gabi thought was permanent. This is one of the most powerful debut novels I've read in years. The prose is spare and precise, never showing off. The letters Gabi writes, especially to his cousin, are quietly heartbreaking and linger long after the book ends. I sometimes wish for more direct explanation of Hutu and Tutsi distinctions to better understand the political shifts, but that confusion mirrors Gabi's limited understanding, which is likely intentional. Small Country is the story of a stolen childhood, a shattered homeland, and the unbearable cost of cyclical violence, told with tenderness, restraint, and remarkable emotional force. It's the kind of book that stays with you long after you turn the last page. For this spread, everything that I use is from Journal Se, and it's part of my latest haul from them. I made a full-on unboxing video if you want to check that out. Next book I read was Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. This was my pick for Read Around the World for South Africa. Born a Crime is one of those memoirs where the premise alone hooks you. Trevor Noah's childhood, born to a white Swiss father and a black Xhosa mother during apartheid, is so inherently dangerous and surreal that it almost reads like fiction. The early chapters are especially strong, capturing the constant fear, absurd rules, and extreme precautions his mother took just to keep him alive and hidden. When apartheid finally ends and they can live more openly, the sense of freedom feels hard-earned, highlighting how much was at stake for so many years. The book is structured as a series of personal essays, which works well most of the time. Trevor humors is sharp and laugh-out-loud funny, even when he's describing hunger, violence, or sheer chaos. Stories about eating caterpillars, surviving attempted kidnappings, and navigating teenage relationships give so much texture to his world. And his mother, she completely steals the spotlight. Fearless, deeply religious, stubborn, endlessly fascinating by the end, I felt like I knew her far better than anyone else in the book, including Trevor himself. That imbalance was where I had my main frustrations. I didn't walk away feeling like I truly understood Trevor, beyond being reckless, lucky, and often insulated from consequences, despite a long list of illegal antics. His brothers and extended family barely register, and some of the most romantic events are saved for the very end, which made the emotional arc feel uneven. I was also disappointed by how little attention was given to his path to fame. It felt like a glaring omission. Still, the combination of historical context, dark humor, and an unforgettable portrait of his mother made this a compelling read, even if it left me wanting a deeper look at the men telling the story. Next book I read in January was I Want to Die, But I Want to Eat Tteokbokki by Baek, Se-hee. And this was also my pick for Read Around the World Challenge for South Korea. This was a difficult book to rate, mostly because it's not quite what it presents itself as. Marketed as part memoir, part self-help, it turns out to be largely a collection of therapy session transcripts, with brief reflections sprinkled in between. Baek Se-hee is a successful young professional who appears functional on the outside but feels persistently low, anxious, and deeply self-critical. The tension between outward competence and inner exhaustion is immediately relatable, and the premise trying to understand why life feels unbearable while still craving comfort food is genuinely compelling. My main issue is that the book never really moves beyond that premise. About 80% is literal therapy conversations, which often feel repetitive and surface level. I assumed the sessions would springboard into deeper reflection, letting the reader inhabit Baek's inner world, but instead, much of the dialogue circles the same points, naming feelings, questioning their validity, or gently reframing them without reaching particularly insightful conclusions. That said, I hesitate to be too harsh with this book. Both the author and therapist all openly acknowledge that there is no tidy resolution, which will resonate with some readers. Mental health journeys are often messy, stalled, and inconclusive, and this book captures that reality, even if it doesn't make for a particularly engaging read. For me, it felt less like a fully realized book and more like unproductive therapy presented as art. That left me unsatisfied, but I can see how someone earlier in their own process might find comfort in its honesty and candor. And finally, my last January read was The Story Keeper by Kylie, and also my pick for Read Around the World for Australia. Thank you so much to HCP Books for the arc. I gave this one 4 stars for its atmosphere and heart, even if it didn't take me as far as I hoped it would. Fiona Winslow's return to her childhood home, the sprawling, decaying Wirimbira, felt immediately comforting and heavy with emotion. After a brutal year, her need to restore the house mirrors her need to piece herself back together, which gave the story strong emotional grounding. The discovery of the Midnight Estate in her uncle's library pulls Fiona into a story that echoes her own life in unsettling ways, and I loved how quickly that connection drew me in. The dual narrative is where this book really shines. The book within a book is haunting in a quiet way, exploring abuse, survival, and the strange kindness that can change a life. Rimmer is very good at showing how stories carry truth when people cannot, and how they become a way to process trauma buried for generations. Themes of family secrets and inherited pain felt thoughtful and compassionate, and I appreciated how gently the layers were revealed rather than dumped all at once. That said, I kept wanting more history, more time inside Wirimbira, more of that Gothic promise the setting hinted at but never fully delivered. Some of the horrors Fiona recounts feel like they should matter more than they do, and once the mystery's direction became clear, it lost some of its tension. Even so, I enjoyed the journey and the emotional payoff, but the story stopped just short of becoming truly unforgettable for me. The bottom washi tape is from Cora Crafts, the pet tape is from London Gifties, and the top washi tape is from Simply Gilded. And that's a wrap on my January reading journal. 9 books, so many different worlds, and a lot of emotions packed into one month. I'd love to know what your favorite book this month was. And if you enjoyed this cozy peek into my reading life, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more bookish content and journal inspiration. Happy reading and happy journaling!